Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are going into our Eastern Conference playoff preview. I'm really excited for this one, guys. This is gonna be an incredible series in the Eastern Conference. You have the best of the Atlantic, the Florida Panthers. They won the Atlantic Division, and then you've got in the Metropolitan Division the New York Rangers. Both of these teams, I kind of don't think have been truly tested yet in the Stanley Cup playoffs. You know, in the first round for the Panthers, they took care of Tampa really swiftly, beating the Panthers in 5 games. And then they beat the Bruins in 6 in the second round, but they were up 3-1 at one point in this series. So it didn't really feel like Boston was it didn't ever really feel like the Panthers were really in trouble in either of those series. And they kind of had a firm control on them. Same thing for the Rangers. The Rangers in the first round swept the Washington Capitals in 4, obviously. And then in the second round against Carolina, it looked like they were about to sweep the Canes, going up 3-0. And I think they learned a valuable lesson as they ended up going to 6 games. And we always talk about how, that little stupid thing, the 4th game's the most difficult to win. I think both these teams have learned that lesson pretty clearly through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. But they, like I said, they haven't faced adversity yet. And I'm really interested to see, because one of these teams is going to face adversity in this series. Whether the Rangers go up 2-0, or the Panthers go up 2-0, or somebody goes up 3-1 or 3-2. How is the other team that's facing the adversity going to handle that? Because if that ends up being the team that wins the series, that's going to say a lot about what they could do in the Stanley Cup final. So, first off, we have to talk about the top point producers. Now, of course, for the New York Rangers, it's Artemi Panarin. Excuse me? What? Who? Vincent Trocheck's the Rangers' leading point producer through the playoffs? That's got to be a joke. You sure? Wow, okay. So Vincent Trocheck is tied for 5th in the National Hockey League with the most points on the New York Rangers throughout the playoffs. I know, it's crazy. He's been really good, and I know the Panther fans are saying, oh no, not that guy. Yeah, Vincent Trocheck, he played his former team in the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round, and now he's playing his other former team, the Florida Panthers, here in the conference finals. Oh boy, I don't know if they're ready for this. Vincent Trocheck has been so good this year on the penalty kill, on the power play, winning faceoffs, all that stuff. Like, this guy is an all-around player, and we knew he was a good player, right? I remember when the Rangers signed him, I'm like, that's a good signing. Good job. I didn't think the same about the Barclay Goodrow signing, but we didn't expect him to do this good. And the way he's been playing on that line is nothing short of incredible. Now, also right there as well, Mika Zibanejad also has 14 points. Panarin has 11. Kreider, Lafreniere, those are your leading guys for the New York Rangers. And listen, Chris Kreider with the natural hat trick in Game 6 down in Carolina, yeah, that guy can play. For the Florida Panthers side of things, the story is pretty easy, right? Matthew Tkachuk, he also has 14 points leading the Panthers. Barkov is right up there. Verhaeghe is right there. Sam Reinhart, all those guys are right there in terms of point producers. Now, special teams. Both these teams are really good on special teams, but the Rangers, for really since the beginning of this calendar year for 2024, the Rangers have been dominant in both categories. And not only have they been dominant, their power play has been incredible. They score the big goals when they need to. That's part of the reason they won Game 6 with Kreider tipping in pucks basically every game. They should check him for steroids at this point. It's kind of ridiculous. He's playing like a robot. And their penalty kill is really dangerous. The Panthers have to be careful with how aggressive they are on the power play. The Rangers have had a ton of shorthanded goals, not only during the playoffs, but toward the end of the regular season. They have it in their head that whether we're on the power play or the penalty kill, we can dominate. And that is terrifying because if you're the Panthers, they're a team that likes to muck it up. We know Tkachuk, Bennett, Verhaeghe, who am I forgetting? All those types of guys. Kevin Stenlund, E2 Lusterinen. All those guys are not afraid to muck it up with the Rangers, but they have to be careful because if they start having odd man, if it's 4-on-4, 5-on-4, either way, that's going to probably favor the Rangers. And that's something I'm really interested to see. How do the Panthers neutralize that power play and penalty kill? Because it has been lethal for the Rangers. And that might end up being the difference in this series when it's all said and done. Now, I will say, I went to the Rangers-Panthers game a couple of weeks ago, I guess, at Madison Square Garden. I think it was back in March they played each other. And shout out to some of the Panthers. I actually saw some of them. I didn't get to talk to them. They were talking to their families and friends and stuff. But I saw Bobrovsky, Evan Rodriguez, and Kachuk. It was pretty cool seeing those guys. So shout out to that. But either way, that's not what we're here to talk about. It was a great game, and that was a game the Rangers won in overtime. They were down in that game, came back, and won. Is that indicative of anything we're going to see in this series? Probably not. I think there's so much that's happened for both of these teams since then. Both their confidence is incredible. That's going to be interesting. The cockiness of both the Rangers and the Panthers right now, I'm really interested to see how that's going to clash here in this series. Even looking at our fan base here and our community at Goal Line Hockey, we have a ton of Ranger fans here. We have a ton of Panthers fans. I'm so excited for the live streams because you guys, I'm sure, are going to be super civil, super nice to each other. I cannot wait for it. And this is going to be one of those series that, like I said, I kind of said that in the first round series between Dallas and Vegas. That might be who ends up going to the Western Conference, end up being the winner of the conference in the West. I mean, obviously, there's only two teams left in the East. I think this is kind of right. These are the two teams that should be there, in my opinion. And yeah, they won their divisions and this and that, yes. But the way they've been playing, they've been so dominant. And when you look at Shesterkin and Bobrovsky, they've both had moments where you're like, how did he save that? I think he teleported across the crease to somehow make that save. But they've also had moments where you're like, what? That went in? It's been that kind of performance for both of them. The Rangers have had some breakdowns in front of their net, especially in Game 5 against Carolina. Ooh, Trouba did not look good. I'm going to assume the Panthers, if they're dumping the puck in or trying to do that or trying to attack into the zone, they're probably going to target going after Trouba. I think that's the way they're going to run things here. But like I said, I'm really interested in between, I was going to do the matchup between forwards, defense, goaltending. It's impossible at this point because you don't get this far if you aren't competent and good in those categories. The matchup between the forwards, defense, and goaltending for these two teams is basically the margins are so slim that it's literally going to separate the series, whether they win or lose, and I can't determine that. Both these teams are so deep. They can score goals from everywhere. Their defense is good, and their goaltending is incredible. And I think what we're going to see here is these teams, like I said, it's going to come down to the team that faces adversity. When somebody goes up 3-1, 3-2, 3-0, maybe, how is the other team going to respond? That is going to be the real difference because, like I said, neither of these teams have been truly challenged in that way yet. And I think that's indicative, A, of how good they've been so far in the playoffs and just the separation between themselves and the teams they've played. That gap is going to close in this series. And I wonder how the Panthers are going to kind of handle this series because the Panthers like to get dirty. They like to get rough. We saw what they did against the Bruins and the Lightning in the first two rounds. The Rangers have been a little bit more, because they've had control in this series, they haven't had the need to have Rempe or Trouba laying those big momentum-shifting hits. They haven't had to go out of their way to get mucky and dirty. I think they're going to have to get stuck in the mud a little bit with the Panthers because, like I said, if they end up going down 1 or 2 games in this series or even in a tight game where they're not up 3-0 most of the game, I wonder how guys like Trouba and Rempe are going to respond, and if they're going to respond. And I think Peter Laviolette so far this playoffs has made it a point to those guys. Don't get distracted. Don't do anything stupid. Don't get suspended. Don't create distractions around our team. Let's just go out, dominate, and do our thing because we're better than this team. I don't think that's the same mentality you could have for this conference finals with the Panthers. I think it's going to be a little different, and I want to see how the Rangers handle that. So that means we are down to our predictions. I know that's why you guys are here or have been here. Like I said, the path for both of these teams, well-deserved for both of them. Both these teams deserve to be in the conference finals. I hate this team because I'm an Islanders fan, but man, I've had some tough series with this team here for the Florida Panthers with my Islanders as well. This is going to be an incredible matchup. Like I said, I feel like I always say that, but this really is. These are the teams that truly deserve to be in the Eastern Conference Finals this year. And like I said, between the Rangers special teams and Igor Shesterkin, the Rangers have a ton to be excited about. And they're already deciding should they put Lundqvist's name on the cup. For the Florida Panthers, though, the Panthers have been able to play it any way you want. They've beaten Tampa. They've beaten Boston. Those are legitimate, solid playoff teams. And that's why ultimately, I think with home ice advantage, I think just the matchup overall, I think is a little different than what this other team has seen. I ultimately think the Florida Panthers are heading back to the Stanley Cup Final for the second consecutive season. Like I said, I hate making this pick. This is literally if I had a weapon to my head with my life on the line, and I had to choose one, I would choose the Panthers. There's too much here, and I think they're versatile enough where they could fend some of the issues with the New York Rangers. I'm not as confident that the Rangers are going to be able to handle the muckiness and dirtiness of Bennett and Tkachuk and those types of players. They did a great job of that with Wilson in the first round, but it was easy because they were up 3-0 in the series. There wasn't much of a response really from the Capitals. I think it's going to be a different circumstance in this series. So with my prediction, I'm going with the Florida Panthers heading back to the Cup Final. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I want to hear what you guys think. Guys, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you would like to join our membership program, that is also down in the link below. We've also got a Discord. All that stuff is in the description. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again next time. Peace out, guys.